My name is Nicole Mariee, and today is a very special day. Today is my launch of my first brand new podcast titled For the Record Podcast, where we talk all things music industry, business, behind the scenes, and all that. So it's not limited to what we're going to talk about music
Right.
wise. Today, I have a very special guest on the show, Junes88, a friend of mine. We've collaborated in the past, and we're actually working on his upcoming album, on one of his songs. And so he's just been, a really cool artist to work with. And he's released a lot of projects under his belt, as well as having his own label here in the Dallas area. So Junes88, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be the first guest. You hit me up. You like, yo, I'm doing this podcast. I want you to be the. All right, cool. I'm with it. I
Yeah.
love people that's in the podcast getting into it always because I'm doing podcasts with my friends, the Blur Spot podcast. We talk everything anime and everything nerdy and everything. So
Mhm.
it's like seeing other people do the same thing that we doing, especially me, because I come from the media background, journalism. It's always cool to see other people doing it. All right, cool. I'm always a campaigner for that, especially when we get to talk music too. Oh, that's about to be a good
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. All right, so I guess we can just get started. We can just
time.
dive right in. So I guess what I wanted to talk about is the title of this podcast is the new music industry and how the pandemic has affected the industry, artist payments,
Okay.
Spotify, all that good stuff. So I guess, and I have my notes written here. Um, why do you think Spotify is bad for artists? Like, I guess we can just get started on that topic and yeah, just take it away.
Spotify is bad for Spotify and Apple Music. I put it this way: it's the money on the other. Every artist knows it's the money portion for
Mhm.
me, and also for you too. But like, I think when it comes to the other, cause I was telling you I had something about this. Like, I think from a professional standpoint, Spotify and Apple Music are good things because as an artist, everybody wants their music on Spotify and Apple Music.
Mhm.
But when you get into it, you realize you don't get paid too much for it. Like, I think it's like you told me like it's like $1 or 50 cents to before you can even get something. You got to reach a certain amount of streams before and you can like have a certain amount of streams. That stream only amount to like $1 or something. Like it don't really add up. I may be misquoting you, but it's the money add part doesn't add up. I'm always a campaigner for sites like Bandcamp and especially Bandcamp and SoundCloud, but everybody doesn't have those sites. Everybody doesn't have that. Like you tell somebody, yo, my music on Bandcamp, what's Bandcamp? What's SoundCloud? You're not on Apple Music, not on Spotify? Nah. So it's like, and then you don't want to, when you send in links, you don't want it to be like Bandcamp and SoundCloud. You want to make it look like, you want to look as professional as possible. But like, I feel like you can do more stuff on Bandcamp anyway, but we'll talk about that later. But like, it's just a payment thing, just like the money doesn't add up. I've been on Spotify for like a while, and I looked at my numbers, my payment, like it ain't even that much. Like I looked at my total of what I got for the time I've been on. I'm like, that's how much I got.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even. I just left it I haven't even. It ain't enough to
It was like, no, just keep it. I don't even want it anymore. I don't even want it. It's not
I
even worth my
don't. It's not even worth withdrawing. Like withdraw, then they take whatever they take out taxes and fees or whatever. I'm left with $3.32. Man, I can't.
Yeah, no, like, I was researching because last year when I released Breaking the Rules, which was a really, successful release and whatnot, the numbers didn't add up with the payment. And I was
I
talking
remember you
to
telling me that.
yeah, I was talking to another artist, friend of mine, who's in Houston, and she said when she released her single, because her single was released around the same time, I think the same day mine was released. And we were like talking about it on IG Messenger, and she said that she only made like $42 from her single, and it had all these streams and whatnot, but only $42, which sucks,
Yeah.
like you can have all these streams, but you can have 100,000 some odd streams, but only make $27 or $100, or it just really depends. And I was looking at this article. I think it was Forbes and a few other articles. To make $1 from a stream, you have to make 225 streams just to make that $1. And you know, it also gets lower, right? If you have listeners who have like the free the free subscription, that's even lower compared to your listeners fan base who are paying 9.99 a month for Spotify. And then also it gets even lower, right? So if you have listeners in the US, here in the US, or even Canada, obviously it might be the payment is going to be better. But compared to listeners in, say, I don't know, India or Portugal or whatever like that, the payment drops even lower than that. So it's like, to add insult to injury, I'm already not getting paid the amount that I should as an artist and as a songwriter, but I get paid even lower when people are listening to my music, overseas. Which I used to think, oh wow, people in Italy, or people in India or Spain or whatever are listening to my music. That's great, until I realize, oh, I'm getting paid even less compared to
Right.
the listeners who are listening to my music here in the States.
Yeah. And for me, it was even before, like, I always tell people, like, I don't really, the money part is cool. Like, I don't stress over the money. Like, I go back and look at my numbers. Like, I see where people go back every other day. I check to see where I'm getting streams from. And when I see, like, uh, I got a stream in Seoul, Korea, I got streams Italy, yada yada. I'm like, first of all, how in the world did y'all find this song?
Mhm.
I'm like, where was this playing for you to come across my music? Like, thank you for the stream. But
Yeah.
I'm like, how did y'all even find it? That's what I didn't think about the money part. Then I'm like, yo, this ain't cool. Cause I remember Joe Budden said some stuff about it. And I remember you even spoke about taking your music off of Spotify and everything. And I'm like, I was thinking about it too, but it's like now it's like if you take all your music off, it's a drag to do because you got to go through and take it all off. But then it's like I have listeners who listen. Like I don't want to, punish them for how I'm feeling, but it's like I told you about before. Like that's why I'm a person I advocate for Bandcamp now because I don't know if you know he's from Dallas, but he moved to New York now. His name is So Topic. He made a career off of just putting all this stuff on Bandcamp. His stuff was never on Apple Music. All you could do was get it on Bandcamp, 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 Bandcamp. And on his last, I think it was his album, EP actually, Mad March, he put something at the end of the album like, yo, you listening to the such and such version of this album, you need to go over to here and hear the other version of it. And like he cut it short, like go over to Bandcamp or Apple, one of the or vice versa. Like you need to go over there and check that. I'm like, yo, that is so genius. And I feel like with Bandcamp, it's more personal. You can add more songs to a project. You can add a bonus song because I did my research on Bandcamp. Like you can like they give you once you upload your project, it says, do you want to add something else like a bonus feature, like an extra song or a video? Like you could add so much more stuff to another project. To begin again, for example, for you, it's like you could add it could be a whole nother album over there. You can
Mhm.
have an EP that like go over the Bandcamp. It's like what is what is this? I
Yeah.
didn't even know this existed. So it's like, and the money's better. Like, yeah, Bandcamp get like 2, 3, or 4%, whatever. It's not much that they take away, But it's like, I can live with that. But like it's whatever. But like my payout is better over here than I have to get like I gotta make a million streams just to get $100.
Yeah, that's outrageous. I know, and that's crazy because you mentioned Bandcamp because my drummer, I think, what was it, last year, the year before last, he had told me, he said, Nicole, you need to get on Bandcamp because I know they have like every once in a while they have like artist appreciation or something like that where you can sell all of your music for just without them having to take any money out. I don't know how that works, or I think you can donate if you have this one artist you like listening to, you can donate um money to that artist. Like
Yeah,
if the album is like say your album is $10, and you have a fan out in, I don't know, New York who really likes your stuff, and they might pay you just $100 just because they love your music that much. And that's what he was telling me. And then I remember I was talking to an artist, another artist. She's from France. She actually doesn't use Spotify or Apple Music or anything. All of her stuff is on Bandcamp. And I remember because I was ranting on one of my stories last year
I remember
about
that.
about the whole Spotify thing. And she replied to my story and she said, yeah, like I don't use Spotify. I don't use Apple Music. I only put my music on Bandcamp. And that's it because I come out better, and I was thinking like, okay, I'm not gonna put any of my music up on Spotify. I'm not gonna, put any more music on Apple Music, yada yada yada. But then I thought to myself, I said, okay, maybe I should keep my music on there. Just use Spotify, Apple Music, and the others as just marketing tools because in this day and age, a lot of people because you have like your Gen Z, like everything has to be like quick and easy for them because I guess maybe their attention span isn't as long as ours as millennials. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, but like with Gen Zs and even other millennials, like it would be easier for them to gain access to your music at a show, at when you're done with your show and they'd be like, hey, I really love your music. Where can I find it? On Spotify. All right, cool. And I think it would be cool to use Spotify as a marketing tool, not as a way to like focus on getting money. Because I was thinking like, okay, if I can just release music on Bandcamp and do physical copies of CDs. I could do that, but
Yep.
and not put my music on Spotify or whatever like that. But then I started thinking that that might make things harder for me to get my music out there to people across the world because if they can only access my music through physical CDs on my website or even Bandcamp. So I said all that to say, I'm thinking that maybe Spotify, Apple Music may have its only pro would be using it as a marketing tool, getting on playlists.
And I would piggyback off that, like I say, the pros and cons. Like the cons are everybody don't have it. Like I remember when I first started putting
Mm-hmm.
out music, I was sending my music out. My cousin, like older cousin, like he's like in his almost in his like damn near in his 40s. He's like, I don't have SoundCloud, I don't have Bandcamp. What's that? So I had to send him the link. Like I got tired. I got to copy and paste the link and just send out links. I hated doing that. And when I finally found out how to get my music on, somebody talking about DistroKid, but we'll talk about that later. All right, what's that? It puts it everywhere. Like it is only a set amount for it. You can put it's this amount, one time fee for the whole year. Upload as much music as you want. You ain't got to pay that till again till the next year. All right, that's freaking amazing. So I say that to say like everybody doesn't have the don't want to go through Bandcamp and the SoundCloud. Like I want to get to this right now. Type your name in on Apple Music and Spotify or whatever people listen to, and just go. But like I said, on the other side, it's more like if you want to look professional from an artist coming up, or you still in, you just now you just need to know. it's only like you said, promotional to like, yo, I got it looks good on your resume. Like, oh, I got all here. Like, my thing is, you don't want to be labeled as a SoundCloud rapper, a SoundCloud singer. Oh, they
Yeah.
just a SoundCloud artist. They're not serious. But like, a lot of people came up off of SoundCloud. But it's
Yeah.
like you feel, and I bet you can agree too. Like it's like, yo, once you get your music on Spotify and Apple Music, it feels so good. It's like I'm on here now. You feel like, yo, I'm on. This is me right here. Like this is
Yeah.
me now. Like it feels so good. But you don't even think about the money part. Like, I'm on this platform that a lot of people aren't on. But
Hmm.
going back to Bandcamp, it's like I feel like I'm heavy on merch. I feel like if I do like physical copies and of Apple, I do like limited edition of my stuff on my merch. Like this is only like this isn't on my store on my store. Like this is like exclusive to Bandcamp and this album. If you buy this album, like I'm Junes 88, I do 88 of everything, like 88 t-shirt, 88 CDs, 88 hats, anything that's super limited. Like
Hmm.
you're not gonna have it. So it's like, yo, where'd you get that shirt from? That's an exclusive that came with the album. You're
Hmm.
not gonna get that anywhere else. If they don't know that was an exclusive, so you
Hmm.
know who your real fans are. Like, all right, these are my fans. And
Yeah.
just imagine Nicole Mariee does a show in New York, and you see one of your fans with one of your you got that shirt? That was
Mhm.
3 albums ago. Like I didn't even like you see who really rock with you. Like yo, like
Yeah.
you got something that nobody else has. And then the people that are your fans, like, I want that shirt, but they can't have it. It's gone. So like I'm thinking the long game. It's for the people. That's why I like Bandcamp. That's why I'm trying to gravitate more to Bandcamp. I'm trying to build my Bandcamp following up. And it's like Bandcamp is so dope. It's like you can have a 5-track EP and have put it on Bandcamp and add 3 extra songs that's not even on the Spotify and Apple Music version.
Hmm.
Like where you get that song? Yeah, that came on that album.
Yeah. I think that's really cool how you compared the two because like with Bandcamp, it really allows you to differentiate who your real fans are versus just your regular listeners because Apple Music, Spotify, while they have their one or two, pros, um, it's accessible.
Yeah,
Everyone can get it. Even an 8-year-old can listen to the latest whatever song that's out there. But like to have people who are actually buying your merch, coming to your shows only, wearing a certain shirt or having an album or limited edition album that is not on Spotify, that's not on Apple Music, it really allows you to see who your real fans are. And I think that's a really great point.
and I
Um,
almost forgot.
yeah.
But Bandcamp, it tells you like you have followers. People can follow you on there. So if they have a fan account, and the people that are fans of the account, you can send them messages. Like you can send like a mass message to everybody, and it tells you like when you upload something, it tells the people that follow you that you're dropping new music. So it tells the people like if they can, yeah, it tells like Junes 88. Oh, Nicole Mariee just dropped some new music, and it sends it to them, and it sends you the link to the. So it does that. So
That's
it's
really cool.
it's like wow, it's so much you can do with Bandcamp. Like I think once artists figure out that, I think that's what the people are. I think that's what the machine is afraid of. Like I can't let them get over there because if artists start leaving and going over there,
Hmm.
it's over.
Yeah.
Like, but like I said, it's nothing but a well, I like to call it a flex. Like, okay, I'm on Apple Music, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Tidal. But how many people even use Tidal?
And you know what? That's crazy. That's crazy because Tidal actually pays more money than Spotify and Apple Music. And I which brings me back to my next point. Well, I wish marketing companies would have title included in their marketing plans for artists. But I think what I wanted to say was that at the end of the year, and I've done it too. The last time I did it was in December of 2020 after I released my last EP, Evolution of Love. Every year you have artists, major, indie, signed, unsigned artists posting their numbers on Spotify. Now, I know signed major artists, they get paid more allegedly, from streams or whatnot. But what I hate is when I see all these artists, and this is no like to like talk down on anyone at all who's done it, because like I said, I've done it, where artists feel the need to post their numbers, their end of the year numbers. But like like when I started realizing that was when the last year that I posted my numbers. When I realized, I
Man,
said, okay, wait, I made money from my EP. That's not the problem, but the money doesn't equate. The money doesn't look like the streams. Like the numbers in my bank account don't look like the numbers that you see on Spotify. So that's the problem. So I'm seeing all these artists posting their numbers, and that's great. But I think now that's turned into a flex, because
it
it's
is
like, it has turned into a flex, because it's like, oh, look at
big
me.
time.
I had a million, listeners this year. And even I know like Spotify will even tell you like the amount of your listeners can fill in, Staples Center in LA or whatever. Because I know um when I had my end of the year numbers, Spotify told me that my numbers could fill up a whole show at a big venue in Austin, which is where I'm from, which is crazy. But like I think now it's kind of turned into more of a flex. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I made, I've had a million listeners. I had a 76,000 hours of stream time, and it's like, okay, that's great, good for you, but you know, how is that equating to your numbers?
I would answer that by first I start off by saying like the end of my what was my my album The Hero numbers did way better than my 88th Avenue numbers did. I'm like,
Mm,
how was I 1,000 something? Then it dropped heavy. I'm like, how did I even have my partner? Like, how did that? I have no clue. I guess when the pandemic happened, you know, I don't know because there's a shift. I don't understand how it works. But I'm like, I didn't really. I feel like there's something on my. I should have did more. I was mad at myself. Like I should have done more. But what can I do? Ain't nobody out. Nobody doing shows. Ain't no. Everybody was doing this, and
mhm,
nobody wants to do a show doing this. It's not the same. And with it's just with the flex. Like I just feel like people post that. No, yeah, I got this. I got, but where's your money at? Unless you're selling merch, that's the only thing. Like it's a kickback, like saying, I do shows and I with some of my people, we go in on venues, like, all right, cool. We like, yo, we pay for this venue, and whatever we make back is ours, even if it's not that much. If we sell merch, we good. Like, all right, cool. Like we broke even on this venue, but we sold out of merch. And like our merch individual, I got mine, my partner got his, and my other partner got his merch. Individual three, we split our money, get out, like, this my cut, this your cut. But I sold out of merch. You sold out of merch too. Oh, we good. So if you don't care about streams, you just care about, I want to get my music out to the masses. Cool. Like a lot of people don't really care about numbers, but like because they know the payoff on Spotify and Apple Music is trash. But
mhm,
if you have it on Bandcamp, sorry to go back to Bandcamp, you got it like on stuff like that. All right, cool. I'm making X amount of dollars over here anyway. So it's like
mhm,
it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? So like you say, it's a promotional thing. Like I just use that just to use it on like for people like, yo, I want to get in on this festival. I want to get in on this. Like they need Apple Music because when you sign up for like So Far Sounds and like, yo, Spotify, Apple Music link, they don't say Bandcamp, they don't say
that's
SoundCloud.
yeah,
They ask for it. Then you're like, oh man, I don't, you know what I mean? So it's like you want to have that just in case.
yeah,
And That's how I look at
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Have you ever applied to so kind of like side topic? Have you ever applied
it.
to
Yes,
so
I have.
have you ever
Well,
played a so far show?
let me tell you what happened. I applied for it like a few months ago, and I apply for it all the time. I apply for it and never got a response back. But the first time I got a response back, they said we loved it. It was nice, but we just need a more up to date video because the video I did was from like the before the pandemic. So that's the only video I had. I didn't have no other shows. And so you're good. We love it. Can we just get a more up to date? Will you get a more up to date video? Then apply. I was this close. I was this. I was like, ah. I was so bad.
Do they were they wanting a more up to date music video or more like a live
A
performance?
live show, like a live show.
Oh, a live show. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
Um,
my live show was like from 3 years, like now 4 years ago. So yeah, I wasn't mad. Okay, now I got to get it. I told my cousin, she like, well, man, look, you need to get some more. I'm up. I said, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool,
yeah.
cool, cool. So I was like, I was happy that I got a response back. I'm like, dang, I'm surprised you ain't been on this so far sounds
Well,
yet.
I've applied one time just a few months ago. And I applied the last time I applied before that was I think back in 2017, 2019, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. And you know, I was able to get in touch with one of the people does that does booking for so far because I remember I made a post about it I believe in 2019 or 2020 and I don't know even if it was in 2020 I don't know what I was thinking because outside was illegal at the time
Yeah,
um but I got in touch. One of my Facebook friends, who books artists all the time in Deep Ellum, he actually told me about the lady who does the booking for So Far in Dallas. And at the time, I never got a chance to send it out to her because I didn't really have enough content at the time to send it. But maybe I will. I guess maybe I should just keep on doing it. I know they have their So Far shows here in Dallas. I know Austin for sure. Major cities in New York, you know, cities in Australia, like they're like literally all over London. So it's like it gives you options to, you know, it's at least it's not like you're limited to just one location. At least if you know
right.
if the Dallas location doesn't work, you can go to the Houston or Austin market, or if that doesn't work, you can go if they have one in New Orleans or if they have one in NYC, whatever, or Nashville, wherever. So at least that kind of you can kind of maneuver
Yeah,
around if Dallas doesn't work, okay, I can go. I can try the Austin market or whatnot. But yeah,
yeah. So far, like that's on my list of things to do. Like I'm like, it's like I got that close. Like, all right, if I get this video again, I know I can get in
yeah,
because, like I said, that's why I'm like, I'm so shocked that you haven't got in on it. Come like, man, I know you would have got in way before me. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I'm like, man, I know Nicole might probably got in, but it's like I always say, God got a time and place for everything, so I'm not stressing it. But like I said, I'm getting in on it now. I know I need to do. It's like it's like I like stuff like that. I like shows like that. It's intimate, it's personal. Like ain't
yeah.
that many people. Like cool is another. And they be having this place at the most wildest place. You like I didn't even know this place existed. Like we on a rooftop. We
The
in
most
somebody's living
places,
room.
yeah.
It's like man, this is. I like that. That's cool. Like I told my mom about that. They be doing it. Yes, it'd be in the most whoever the host, it'd be in somebody's living room, somebody's backyard. Like if
Hmm.
he be pulling up, like that's whoever came up with the idea of so far sound, they need to be
Yeah. It had to have been another musician, definitely, or someone who cares about like artists and like getting their brand out there even more to people. Because I think it's a really great thing they're doing,
yeah,
especially for because I know a lot of my favorite artists have actually been on so far. I remember, well, I know Billie Eilish was on there. And I didn't know that until like I think just a few months ago, before she had got really big. Who else was on there? I think Emily Sandé. I used to listen to her. She was on there like before she blew up. And a few other artists that I'm familiar with
Yeah.
was on there before their careers blew up. But there's another thing similar to that in London actually, and it's called what they call the Color Show. And it's kind of like So Far, but with colors. You can look it up too. And with colors, it's like you're performing a song, one of your own songs, in one of their studios, in one of their like live studios, and you like just perform your own song. And it could be you can actually use the actual studio track, or you can use I believe live instruments, a live band for it. I'm not sure, but I know this one artist that I listen to all the time. I post her sometimes on my stories about the songs that I really like from her album. She's been on there before. And then a few other artists have been on there. So yeah, look up Color Show.
All right.
Um, I might post a link in the description on YouTube and on IG and
All
Facebook.
right.
But it's a real, and I actually applied because I was like, well, look, let me just see what happens. I mean, it's not like I have a passport laying around, but let me just see, and like months ago. So yeah, nothing happened, but it's cool because I
Imagine
never,
that would have went through. You would have. You be like, let me just try it in 2 weeks. Like, you be this. Oh shoot, I did
I
not.
don't have a passport
Man,
or money
I was.
for a flight, but
Man, I was just playing. That's what happened. You be playing. That's when the stuff happened. Oh, man. And speaking of, there's a this site will be remain nameless, but I they had a tour. Like I applied for it. Let me just see what they got. This was at the start of the pandemic. It was like a
mm,
virtual tour. I'm like, all right, let me just kicks and giggles. Let me see what's gonna happen.
yeah,
I got picked up for that damn thing. I'm like, wow.
wow,
And I'm like, I panicked. I didn't do it. I panicked. I had to turn it down. I panicked. I didn't. Then I'm like, I got it. Got started to get real time. Like, I don't want to do this for a show. I don't. This just this. Like, I'm sitting here waiting for my get ready to get the time up. Then you gotta do your whole set back. You in there in your room, like you seeing comments going up, and like it's
mm,
like as an artist, you know how the energy from the crowd, it just does something to you.
it does.
And is this, and then as a hip hop artist myself, it's like that energy from when people feeling the show, they give you all that energy back. You giving it, they giving it right back. Like you be tired as hell, you be like excited. It be 2, 3 in the morning, you still up and ready to go. It's like,
Yeah,
and it's like even music, you playing your piano, you having a good time, crowd having you talk to the crowd, they giving y'all laughing, having a good time. Like you could have had the worst day that day.
yeah,
And then you get on that stage, you see the crowd, like all that just goes away. Like, yo, this is a great, and then it's a good show. You taking pictures and you selling merch, you doing all this stuff. Like this don't this y'all can have the virtual. Give me the live interaction. There's nothing that can compare to it. I just did a show 2 weeks ago. Um, I got a guest spot. My boy Altitude doing a show. We got a song called Traveler's Diary. That's on my album, The Hero. And he said I'm gonna add this on my set. So that's like cool. And being on stage for the first time in 3 years, I was like, wow.
yeah.
It's like I missed this. I'm like, I missed
Yeah,
this.
yeah, no, like I definitely feel that. Like, my first show, no, actually, my first show since the pandemic was at. I was actually a background singer, but I was just like, all right, let me just, get back on stage, but it's not my show. But let me just kind of like get my feet wet again because I've been, haven't been performing because of the pandemic. That was last April, April 2021. That was a cool show. It was fun, but it wasn't my own show. So I was just like doing oohs and ahs, like,
Right.
whatever. But then my next show after that was last summer at this venue in Fort Worth. I can't remember the
I,
name of it.
yeah, I remember you doing that one.
Yeah, I just can't remember the name of it. That was a really fun show. And then I did another show in December at the Rail Club. That was a really fun show. That was like the perfect way to like end 2021. And then my next show after that was at South by, and that was fun. Except it was
Man, I
interesting.
was so happy for you. Like,
Thank you. And it was fun. Plus, it was my first ever show in my hometown. I'm from Austin. And so, you know, side note, I just never understood the hype behind Sixth Street because I've grown up there, and my mom, she worked she I think she had a job somewhere downtown near Sixth Street, and my aunt had worked on a at a business or whatever because she worked in finance or whatever, and so I just never understood like the hype of Sixth Street because it's like I see it all the time growing up. I'm
right,
going to high school. I'm taking the city bus to high school or whatever some mornings, and I just never understood the hype of it. So I'm down there for South by. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see what the hype is about.
you
Because
know what it is?
this is
It's
my
kind of like
yeah
I'm sorry. Like, I was kind of like people from New York. Like, man, they like, yo, man, this just. But we on the outside and we tour like, oh, this is fine. Like, it's
yeah
like people like y'all want to come to like when it's people from Dallas. Going back to what you said, like we from here, we know the ins and outs for the most part. We
mm,
be like, man, ain't nothing to
mm,
do. But when somebody from out of town come, we know about all the high spots to go to. Like you in Sixth Street,
yeah
I ain't never been to Austin, so I'm like, it'd be a good time for me. But you from there, like, man, I've been to
yeah.
Sixth Street all dang time. Like this ain't nothing.
And I was down there because I was like, all right, it's Sixth Street. I know about it. I didn't grow up. I grew up not too far from here. So let me just see what the hype is about because it's South by. And I go down there and I'm like, this looks like Deep Ellum. This is Deep Ellum. This is literally Deep Ellum part two. And so
Man,
I'm walking, I couldn't find parking. Um I was supposed to go with family. They were supposed to come with me, but it was a lot of like crazy things going on and they felt uncomfortable, so I was like, all right, I'll just go by myself. And
look here, y'all. Let me tell you about Nicole. She will go somewhere by herself at the drop of a dime. She
yeah
don't wait for nobody. She just go.
yeah and like so that's so true. But with especially like, if you've been talking about it and like, hey, family, y'all want to come, and at the last minute they change their mind. I'm like, all right, fine, let's go by myself.
That's how I am.
But
I'm definitely the same way.
but I went in the daytime, which was cool because my set
That's
was
always good.
like, yeah, like my set was at like 3 or 2 or something like that. And I'm down there and I'm seeing all these people, like different people from California, from New York, from even met I even met some people there from New Orleans who was at the show. I mean, it was fun. Don't get me wrong, but it was just like, okay, next year I definitely, not maybe not next year or whenever, because I don't have any. I'm working on new music actually, so like whenever the time is right, I want to be on the main stage. But it was fun. It was really fun being down there. But I guess I said all that to say was, do you think COVID-19 has been a blessing or a curse for independent artists?
Can I get winded real quick? Can I? I'm gonna
Yeah,
answer this
sure.
question in a way that only I can answer. Okay, it was a blessing and a curse. Blessing because on one end, I had just wrapped up my project, The Hero,
Mhm.
and I told my boy Altitude, who I record with, that's my brother. I record him all the time, but he goes out of town. So we was in the middle of a project, then he'll go out of town. Like, so I can't record for a week. week or two. So I said, I'm about to get my own home studio. He said, man, I encourage you, I champion you, do that, bro. I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. So I start, as soon as the income tax hit, I bought my studio, so I bought my personas, I bought all that. And I started buying everything, buying everything. Then the pandemic hit. Then they were like, yo, it's gonna be a couple weeks, a couple months. Like, I got this studio stuff now. I got no choice but to do it myself, recording myself now. But that was a blessing because I did a whole album by myself. Recorded it, got a mix and master. I didn't do the mix and master, but I got it done. You know, I had to call a few favors like, yo, can you mix and master? Can you do this for me? Like, yeah, T, I got you. And I got it done.
Mm-hmm.
That was the good part. But the curse part was like, it's like when you're, it's like, as an artist, like people don't understand. Like people like, yo, why don't you do a live show? Like I just told y'all, like this ain't it. Like as artists, we gotta have that crowd in action. It's and I told you, uh, I tell people that if you didn't come out of this with a better mindset, more creative something, you fail. Like we always say, there's not enough time in the day. There's not enough. Now we got our time back. We get people are going out. People, you go out, you still people see people with the mask on. Some people still got gloves, whatever the case may be. But it's like saying, now everybody's free roaming again. It's like, and nobody's learned anything from it. It's like, as an artist, like, yo, it was a bad thing because we could not go out. It's like, I didn't want to, I almost hit a place where I didn't want to make music. I didn't want to create it. I'm not.
Oh
I'm
wow.
like, I was going back and forth with my mom, like, well, I get what you're saying, Mom, but it's still like, I gotta get out. Like, I can't get it in my room. Like, doing this ain't it. It's like, I got so much content. Like, it's like, I need people to hear it. It's like with comedy. Like you want to work out a joke that you think is funny, but you can't do it in front of this because you
Mhm.
don't know if the joke working. You got to go to the comedy spot and test out, see if people laughing. And you may have a song you want to see how the crowd react to it. Like I got a lot of songs that hits, you know what I mean? But you want to hear like how the crowd. You want to see what when the beat when the track first drop. You want to see what the crowd look like, what kind of vibe they give. You want to see all that. And like that's the curse, but then it goes now. Like when you get back to shows, you rusty. You don't even know how to look on stage.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I had before I did that show 2 weeks ago. I'm in this room practicing. I'm like for her like I'm in front of a crowd. All right, cool. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move like this. I'm like I have to get. I ain't did a show in 3 years. Like what do you expect? Like it's like you nervous. Like you don't know. Like you looking like a chicken with his head cut off. Like you're like man. Like ooh, this is gonna be scary. But then you get on stage, the music it's like riding a bike all over again. Man, this easy work.
Yeah, I think for me, it was kind of similar. When the pandemic hit, I had shows booked, a lot of shows booked. I
I
for
think
my
you told me you had one. You was trying to go do something overseas, like in London.
overseas in London, I had some spots out in LA that I was gonna because I was contacting some people in October, November of 2019. And they got back with me and they said, yeah, let's come out here, whatever, whatever. And then I was eyeing New York again to like do some shows out there, and then even Atlanta, and then trying to do something overseas. And I had some shows booked here. My show, the first show that I had booked was it was supposed that week that they shut everything down. That was supposed to be like my show was supposed to be that Friday or a Saturday or whatever, and they shut it down. And I wasn't like really upset, because I said, all right, well, it's just they said 2 weeks, so okay, cool, 2 weeks or whatever, and then 2 weeks ended up being a whole year and a half or whatever. But in that time, I released my album, my EP, June of 2020, um, which I think the timing probably couldn't have been not bad, but it was right around the time of George Floyd and all that. So Like that happened, and then my album, then my EP came out. Then I felt guilty about promoting it at that time. I felt guilty
Right.
about talking about it because this is happening. And
Right.
then on top of, on top of the riots, on top of, you know, the COVID, and on top of an upcoming presidential election, it was a lot. So I'm like, okay, what is going on? Why is this happening? But no, like again, the EP did well, but in that time I really focused on my songwriting skills more. I said, okay, well, look, I can't perform anymore. Um, Not at least right now. So let me get on my piano. Let me just hash out some new melodies, some new chord progressions. And let me just get better as a writer. And
Right.
later that year in August, I started going to an actual physical studio. Because at this time, I didn't have any of my studio equipment. I was still using a PC. I didn't have a Mac. I didn't have anything, monitors, none of that. And so I was like, all right, let me just focus on my writing. Let me just get some beats so I can figure out what it is that I want to do going forward. And in that time, I became a better writer. My ear got stronger because I was able to create a lot of like complex harmonies. So I was in the studio um, later that year in 2020, and the engineer was like, how are you coming up with these intricate melodies and intricate harmonies? Like these harmonies you're creating, they sound beautiful, but they're so hard. Like if you listen to each stem, like it's so different. Like no one, how are you able to hear this? And I said, well, when you have a lot of time on your hands, you're able to hear things, and
Exactly.
you are. I became much better as a writer, and it actually, in turn, with during all that, I became. That's how I started my journey in sync placements, because I was invited to a pitch session in LA, but it was on Zoom, and I was, it was a free ticket because the ticket was like $300, $400, and the owner of the organization, because I don't know how it happened. I was trying to reach out to her about something completely different, and I didn't know anything about sync placement at the time. So I called her, left a message, and she called me back surprisingly, and I was like, I forgot what I was calling her in the first place, and I still wonder like why was I calling her in the first place, but it doesn't matter. And so she was like, well, so you're an artist, blah, 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 blah. We have a listening session. That's tomorrow if you can make it. Someone who paid for their ticket is not able to come, so I can give you this free ticket. And then I said, okay. And she said, yeah, you can just sit in, just see what it's about. And I'm listening to this like Hollywood music supervisor. And there's other people like that submitted their music. And I'm just listening to all this knowledge that I wasn't exposed to before. And I was like, this is a whole nother world. So that's how I
Yeah.
got into sync. And that year I actually landed my first sync placement in an independent movie called Broken. But so yeah, the pandemic, it really changed a lot of things in my career. So I feel like it was a blessing in terms of me being able to learn how to set up home studio, learn how to like, write new music, not learn how to write new music, but like write better music, write more music, getting better at creating harmonies, which is something that I've never been able to do before, getting in sync play getting into the world of sync. It was a curse in terms of, well, dang, like I'm not performing anymore, you know. But I'm actually gonna probably save that for the next podcast, or just for a separate YouTube video on,
Right.
you know, how to make money as an artist without having to depend on ticket sales,
Right.
because COVID taught us that. Like
Shit, don't you
it
know?
taught us that. So it's like, and I know a lot of artists' livelihoods got messed up because of that. A lot of artists had to go back to working a regular job or picking up side hustles or whatever. So I think, there's other ways to make money as an artist without having to depend on, ticket sales. And like I said, COVID taught us that. But yeah, it was a blessing and a curse for me. But I think, like you said, um if you didn't come out of the pandemic as an artist with more knowledge, then you just wasted 2020, a whole year. Because, if it wasn't for COVID, I'm gonna be honest with you, I wouldn't have my own studio. I wouldn't. If it
Right.
wasn't for COVID, I probably wouldn't even be interested in sync because I wouldn't have known about sync. If it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't know any of that stuff.
I
So,
feel you. And I told my boy, because I had just put my album, The Hero, out at the start of the pandemic, because it was already wrapped up and I had already started promoting. I'm like, I knew because I was gonna do like a whole, uh, I can say it now, a short film to go with it. I was gonna do a whole thing to go with it. It was gonna be
mhm,
like I can't even explain it. If I explain it to you, like, how'd you come up with it? Come up with that. It's like one of them things. Like I had everything planned out. Like I was gonna do a builder before, like do that, drop that, didn't do the project. So you got the little
mhm,
mini film, then you got the album, boom. But then it hit like, right before, like I was thinking, like, do I take it down? Do I keep it up? If I knew like that was gonna happen, I would have never put it up. I would have
yeah,
waited.
yeah,
And I'm glad I didn't because I came up with a whole new project, which
mhm,
80th Avenue, which was supposed to be an EP. Then I was gonna put that out. I said, screw that. Let me add five more, make it 10. Um, because my first official album was only, how many was on it? Seven? It was like eight or nine. Like, it was like the number. I think like 7 songs on them. Like, let me do a full joint now. Let me do 10. So I added five. Like, and that did well. I'm like, but I put that out during the pandemic. But I feel like it could have did better. I always feel like everything I put out could have been better. Like that was good, could have been better. That was good, could have been better. That was good, could have been better. So I'm just like learning how to pace myself now. But like you said, like I think the only thing that hurt us as artists is not being able to, as being able to perform. Like, cause there's other things we can do.
yeah,
Like we can still do like little Instagram videos and still work on stuff. Still put up so many other projects. Like you said, like everyone. I mean, even if it wasn't for the pandemic, I still would have had this home studio because I wanted one anyway, just to have it.
mhm,
Because all my friends have a home studio. Let me get one. But I probably would have started. I probably wouldn't have been as quick to get it. But like
mhm.
we ain't got no choice. Like I'm at the house already. I ain't, you know. Then we get all these stimulus. Let me use pay my bills by this. Pay this, pay my bills by that. So by that time, I had everything. Like I will try to figure this out. Like ain't no turning back now.
Yeah, it's crazy you said the stimulus check because when I got, we when when we got the second stimulus check, like December 2020, January 2021, I took that stimulus because it was like $600. Because if you had the $1,400 and Trump gave out the 600 or whatever, I used that 600 to get my studio mic because I was asking my other engineer who did Evolution of Love, the mixing and mastering. I was asking him, I said, hey, look, what kind of mic should I get? I don't know. Like there's so many options. And he sent me the Amazon link and I was like, all right, cool. So when I got my check, I went to Amazon. When I got my deposit, went to Amazon.com, got the mic that I'm using today. But yeah, I think it was a blessing. And you have to look at it like this too. There are always, in the midst of bad things or setbacks, there's always, you have to be able to look at the good in every situation.
Oh yeah, don't you know?
Yeah, you have to be able to look at the good in every situation and realize that, this is a blessing and maybe the old way wasn't working. Maybe the old way wasn't working. Maybe this is a chance for you to finally see, okay, what's working, what's not. What can I do? How can I, get better here in this area, or how can I do this or that? And I'm seeing artists on YouTube they're still doing live at home performances. And I think that's cool because it's like, even though like you said it's not the same, but even in between your shows, I think you still want to be able to include those live performances in between those shows so you can still be active as a performing artist, even though it's not the same. But I think, putting as much content like live maybe not live performances, but maybe just like pre-recorded performances in the studio. Or,
Yeah,
there's this one artist that, and I'm not going to mention his name because, but there's this one Christian artist that I am subscribed to on YouTube. He actually, posted his live at home performance of one of his songs that he just released in between his like live shows. And I thought that was cool because I said, wait, people are still doing that. It's 2022, but I think that's a really great tool to use.
I guess since you bring up that, I want to ask, as a person that does it myself, how do you feel about putting together your own live shows? Because I remember when I first started doing it at my college, I was looked at as a revolutionary, like a Renaissance person. I was looked at like, yo, like you really changed the game at this college because God bless the dead, my mentor, Mr. Cedric, like, yo, man, like we had a private conversation. Like, yo, man, you did something that nobody else. He compared me to somebody like a big name person at the time. Like, man, no, I said, bro, you gotta chill on. And nah, son, you really did something that nobody else could do here, and I'm proud of you. And I always told people, even before I started doing, and it goes to my question, doing, I said, why don't try to put your own shows together and make the money yourselves? Like, why are y'all not in on this? Like, man, it's so hard to do, man. You got to, yeah. I said, all right. Then years down the road, like 4 years later, I started doing it. Like, it's not that hard. All you got to do is, like, for me, when I started doing my own show, it was difficult to do it at my college because you got to jump through so many hoops. But once you get outside of that, I've done shows here, there, everywhere. Like, bro, like, this is easy. All you got to do is send an email, this, that, and the third. If it goes within your budget, get it. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
have you ever thought about putting together your own show, like just you or anything? Have you ever thought about doing that?
I have actually. You mean like for me or for other
Like
artists?
just for you, like even if like yeah, just for you, bro. Okay, I'm gonna start with you. Like, if you're like, I'm gonna rent this venue out, or probably have you one or two openers and just a small little intimate show from.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. I've actually have done that in the past. I did that at the House of Blues show that I did in 2019, where I had a few openers. And that was okay. That was good. That was a really good experience for me, like organizing everything and then actually being an artist. Um, and I think I have thought about doing that again, like having
I think
like
you should. I think you should.
two openers. Yeah, having two openers for me, and then putting on my own. Then performing after. That would be a great way to bring out the crowd. And I think yeah, yeah.
Because I feel like with that, it's like it's so much. Because I enjoy doing that because it
Mhm.
gives other people. Because you know how it is here in the city. That I feel like I think I told you this too. Like that is not like a music city to me. It's like
No, no.
it's more of an economical type of yada yada yada. It's not like it ain't. We don't have the resources to do like the Atlantas and the New Yorks and the LAs. How
Mhm.
they have like a bunch of different factories. Like you got this room, that room, this building, that building. And I think my best year of doing shows, well, yeah, it's 2023, 2022. So 2018, the start of 2018 to the end of 2019 was my best year of shows in Deep Ellum. Like uh, we ran IBK until it, like it was to the point where it was like once we left, it seemed like everybody else left. Like everybody, when the show was over, like the place was damn near empty. Like I don't know what it was like after we left. But when the show was over, people were like, "Yo, we gone." Like that room was like gone. Like
Yeah.
so, it's like I love doing those kind of shows. It's like, especially because it's so hard to get on other people's shows. I'm like, might well do your own thing.
Yeah, like if no one else is giving you an opportunity, like I said, like I always say, if no one else is giving you an opportunity, create your own opportunities for yourself. Because those very same people who, may not want to give you an opportunity, they're gonna eventually be looking at you like, hey, let's work. Now you want to work with me when I
Now my
need.
prices went up.
Yeah,
I was gonna work for free, but now my price is going up now.
yeah, yeah.